This isn't just about the opioid abatement funds. I started looking into the abatement funds because it's my area of professional expertise, and I made a commitment to advocacy on that front. This is about the one question I find myself asking as I do research. I put it to you now. What qualities does a person have to have for their life to matter in the city of Holyoke? What circumstances of birth qualify a person for your attention? Is it race? Spoken language? Is it wealth? Do they have to be unborn? What the fuck do you need a person to do for their life to matter to you? How many people have died in Holyoke during the time the city had access to the opioid settlement funds? I've heard 67. I've also heard it was likely more than 100. And I'll tell you what, the number would be a lot higher if it weren't for our first responders. I don't mean police, fire, and medical. That is not first response in an overdose. The first responder is the volunteer running 3 blocks in 97 degrees with narcan in hand. The first responder is a fellow substance user who carries harm reduction supplies. The first responder is a person stumbling to knock on a door. The first responder has to be there already. Do you think that the mayor would leave halfway through a public meeting on the matter if these deaths weren't opioid related? Seriously, widespread death amongst his constituency, and he has somewhere more important to be. Do you think the city would have summarily rejected expert support on a local and statewide level if these deaths were in the Highlands? Do you think it would have taken 3 years to figure out who's going to deal with it? Is the city government operating on the same justification used when clearing encampments? Blight? I spoke with a friend of mine the other day. My friend habitually occupies a median holding a cardboard sign asking for a little support or recognition. He has Polaroids attached to the sign as proof that he's a veteran. He's a double amputee. As I pulled up next to him, he says, "Pray for my daughter. She OD'd last night. She's in the ICU." He and his wife are going to have to go to court to save his daughter. I parked my car and walked over. As we got to talking about the supports available, I mentioned that I had recently learned about the encampments being cleared out. "Yeah," he says, "they cut my tent with a knife." At least 3 encampments were cleared in 2024, if anyone's keeping score. I hear there's somewhere for the residents of the encampments to go, but I'm a little lost on the specifics because that would be a shelter, and that might be another blight. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by this city's apparent hierarchy of whose lives are worth attention. I'm disgusted by the sheer audacity of citing adherence to the U.S. Constitution in an order which signals cooperation with the unconstitutional and despicable actions of immigration and customs enforcement. I don't know how any person who considers themselves to be a representative of the city of Holyoke so brashly betray the lives of nearly 60% of the population. Constitutional rights are not optional, and any person who knowingly endeavors to orchestrate the violation of these rights while in public office should face prosecution. When the city has resources, available guidance, willing volunteers, and expert input at its disposal and does not act while residents are dying in the street, those officials responsible should take responsibility for those deaths. The city who spends 3 years and at least 67 lives figuring out how to manipulate the system for the sake of control and to keep those funds in-house is a city which faces a reckoning. And so I ask again, what qualities does a resident of the city of Holyoke need to possess for this government body, legislative and executive, to care if they live or die? Please forward my questions to the appropriate offices I believe you know where to direct them, and if not, I do.